So, what's coming up next? We have Ignites. Ignites is super fun. I alluded to this earlier. The idea behind the Ignites is that they are talks which are exactly 5 minutes long. Why are they exactly 5 minutes long? They're exactly 5 minutes long because the slides auto-advance. So you gotta keep up. There's a set number of slides, and they auto-advance. The talks are 5 minutes long. You do the math. It's a combination of sort of acting and stand-up, but also tech talk. It's a lot of fun. The rhythm is great. It's the perfect thing to get us re-energized and reinvigorated after lunch. And also, if you're thinking to yourself, 5 minutes on stage, how hard could 5 minutes on stage be? Come on. It is possibly the hardest format there is. Okay, and I say this as someone who really enjoys these talks. So please, a big, enormous, heartfelt round of applause for our upcoming Ignite speakers. I'll be back on stage afterwards, okay? See you soon. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Test. The first, yeah, it's good. Okay, let's see. Developer experience can drive business growth. And I think there's going to be a lot more developers with the Gen AI because it decreases the barrier. So that's why developer experience is becoming relevant. Okay, it works. So what is developer experience? It's about the tools, processes, everything that is part of the software development. And we'll look at how it impacts, especially now, the business and economic impact. So we're looking at how it drives growth, how we build services, how we launch. It's about the entire ecosystem. So when you look at all these components, it is about the documentation, processes, frameworks, but it's a lot more because you need to make it all together, the teams. So there's a few drivers that I want to share with all of you. Collaboration. Collaboration is multiplier across. It's not just you working within the team, but it takes a big team to launch a new client, to create a new product, to launch a new enterprise deal. And the speed is as important because the faster you are in the market, that the shorter, the more products you can launch, the faster you can adapt to the changes. As we've seen with the current macro, it's better for you. And people will love the fast releases. We need the short feedback loops. They have become a lot longer. This day 2 discussion where we need to learn Kubernetes, Docker, YAML, it's no longer developer stuff. It's like you're getting on a flying plane and they ask you fuel, clean, do the dishes and prepare the meals. So how about the high degrees of automation? We need guardrails because once we go fast, we need to ensure that we have the testing places, we need high quality. That high quality gives you the capabilities and you don't have toil. So with friction, if your developers love the processes, it's much faster and much easier to sell something if it's easy. You don't need 100 pages wiki. The documented process, I've been guilty myself for creating Confluence pages, but if you can speed up the idea to production and it's well understood by the team, that's perfect. Who heard about McKinsey article who claimed that we can measure developer productivity? I was so glad that this community was very responsive, especially Ken Beck, and there's plenty of other people that dished McKinsey. So I don't want to go back where we're measured by the lines of code, but if you're familiar with the plateau of latent potential from Atomic Habits, it's, if you practice a habit, it needs to take for a longer time until it breaks a threshold. Once it breaks, you have the dream. And what we all dream? The platforms. Yeah, we're like self-service all the way, unicorns, security, fast. A lot of my peers and friends and colleagues, they are victims of their own success because it was all rainbow, all honeymoon, and then it's like, okay, existing infrastructure, mainframes, partners, ecosystems, and it's very hard, right, to migrate and keep the costs. And you want to get out of this hell. This self-service, it's no longer for you because you failed to do the contract. And it's important to understand, are you in a startup, in a hyper-growth? Are you looking at operating leverage, capital return, or you're like declined, run away from those companies, right? You have companies in decline, bankrupt. But it's key for you to understand like the MBA before, revenue, profit. So GitHub have come up with a great formula where you have productivity, how fast, how happy you are, and what's the impact. Because when you put it all together, it's how fast you deliver stuff. And it's C-square because that collaboration, as I mentioned, is important. Because in our daily life, especially if you bring the CNCF landscape, I remember when it was like a square, it could fit on a t-shirt a couple of years ago. There's key metrics, but in the end, it is about positively impacting the bottom line with the right platform and with a lot of right processes, with all the things that I said before. But don't go just into the measurements and metrics, because output doesn't necessarily impact. And coming from engineering and then into sales, there's a lot of gaming that can be done. Incentives drive behavior. And there's plenty of stories about the wrong incentives. But here's a metric that I think is quite easy for everyone from a dev. It's revenue per employee. Revenue, if you're a public company, you have Edgar, you have financial statements, and the number of employees is public. So you can immediately benchmark with your peers. So this is the summary. Collaboration speed, short feedback loops, high degree of automation, low level of friction, and talk to me about DevOps Day Singapore. Thank you very much.